Here we go. Watch what you say. Watch what you say. Border Czar. Watch what you say. Border Czar Tom Homan is the hideous face of Donald Trump's even more hideous ICE raids across America. Homan, along with Stephen Miller, invented the family separation policy during the first Trump administration, and there's now breaking news. MSNBC is now reporting that the FBI, under the orders from Trump's first Deputy Attorney General, Emil Bove, shut down a major undercover investigation into Tom Homan, Border Czar, shaking down business people while promising them that he could help secure lucrative government contracts with the Trump administration in exchange for cash, $50,000 in cash and a brown bag. According to the most recent reports, these promises were allegedly made before Trump won the November election. It was an ongoing investigation that Emil Bove, who was then Trump's Deputy Attorney General at the beginning of this year, he ordered the FBI to drop the investigation. MSNBC reporting Saturday night that the FBI last year launched a criminal investigation into Tom Homan after he was caught on audio tape, possibly videotape, caught accepting $50,000 from FBI undercover agents posing as businessmen looking for ICE-related government contracts in anticipation of Donald Trump's return to the Oval Office. Again, this was during the election. According to MSNBC, the FBI field office in Texas recorded their agents posing as businessmen handing a bag containing $50,000 in cash to Homan, who was heard on tape promising these men government contracts should Donald Trump return to the White House. NBC reporting this was an ongoing investigation until Trump returned to the Oval Office, and then the FBI, under new management, was ordered to shut the investigation down. Who made the order? According to MSNBC, Emil Bove gave the order just as Homan took over as Border Czar. This is according to MSNBC. The New York Times is now following up on that story. It says the audio tapes caught Homan. Where are we? There we go. Caught Homan promising these undercover FBI agents that he would assist them in securing government contracts that involve border security because Homan said, I would have direct access to the White House in a Trump administration. MSNBC reporting that the FBI began their investigation of Homan during the summer. Homan was caught on tape. This was on September 20th, 2024, exactly 1 year ago. Homan was caught on tape, possibly with hidden cameras, definitely audio. They have audio where Homan is heard, possibly seen, accepting this bag of cash, $50,000 inside of it, while he was working as an independent consultant, assisting businessmen in gaining access to government spending. Before Biden took office, you might remember during the first Trump administration, Tom Homan worked as the head of ICE. Then, after Trump lost, Homan spent 4 years running a consulting business where he helped corporations like the for-profit private prison corporation Geo Group. The FBI decided to put a lid on this investigation until after the election. After he was caught on tape, they said, let's put a lid on this until after the election and then resume the investigation. But it was immediately shut down once Trump returned to the Oval Office. NBC reporting that before the investigation was shut down, lawyers inside the Justice Department were considering charging Bove with conspiracy, bribery, and fraud. Politico reporting the FBI Saturday night confirmed that there was an investigation into Homan, but the FBI shut it down once Trump returned to office, they called the initial investigation launched during the Biden administration, quote, blatantly political. MSNBC reporting that then acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove ordered the investigation completely shut down in the days immediately following Trump's inauguration back in January or early February. Emil Bove last year worked on Trump's criminal defense team. He left the Justice Department in August after the Senate confirmed his lifetime appointment to the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. 3 Justice Department whistleblowers offered to testify that Bove committed perjury during his confirmation hearings this year when he denied striking a deal with Eric Adams to drop prosecution of the New York mayor, prosecution for bribery in exchange for Adams cooperating with ICE. Another whistleblower was willing to testify Emil Bove lied under oath when he denied instructing Justice Department lawyers to ignore court orders overruling Trump's deportation policy. Chuck Grassley, chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, refused to allow those 3 whistleblowers to testify. Emil Bove, in 1 year, goes from Trump's criminal defense attorney to deputy attorney general to judge, to a circuit court judge. So Tom Homan is never going to get prosecuted in this Trump Justice Department. Republicans are already calling the investigation, the news of this investigation, where Homan is caught on tape accepting $50,000 in cash in a brown bag in exchange for access to a future Trump administration. Republicans are already calling that investigation the deep, dark state weaponized by the Biden Justice Department. An all too familiar refrain. Trump and his cronies are never criminals because whenever they're caught with their hands in the cookie jar, it's always the deep, dark state. The deep, dark state, this elusive, amorphous, shape-shifting conspiracy that can be bended and molded to wash away any criminal behavior. Now, if Democrats win back either the House or the Senate, then the legislative branch's investigatory oversight kicks into gear. And here is one question that needs answering. Tom Homan will claim that, I was caught on tape. I didn't do anything wrong because at the time I was running a consulting business, and there's nothing against the law in telling businessmen that I can lobby jobs for them if Trump returns to office. That's what he's going to claim. Now, I don't know what's on the tapes. I don't know if he promised them that I'm going to be the new border czar and I'll see to it that you get these contracts, in which case that's blatantly illegal. And Democrats are already demanding answers as to why the number 2 person in ICE, David Venturella, used to be the top executive at GEO Group before taking the number 2 job at ICE. GEO Group, the largest for-profit prison corporation, that we know they paid Homan an undisclosed amount of money for consulting work before he was the border czar. So what role did Homan play in the hiring of Venturella from GEO Group to become the second in command at ICE if we had a democratically controlled Senate or House? They'd be looking into that right now. But let's say Homan is going to claim all I did was take money on the promise of helping these businessmen secure ICE contracts in a new Trump administration. He's going to say there's nothing illegal. I didn't know they were FBI undercover agents. There's nothing illegal about me taking money to help businessmen get government contracts. Okay. Then let's see your tax returns for 2024, Tom Homan. Why are you accepting a bag filled with $50,000 in cash? Did the FBI get that $50,000 back after the undercover investigation came to an end this year? Now, the investigation ended in 2025. It was still going on at the beginning of this year, which means Tom Homan had to declare that $50,000 in cash on his 2024 tax returns, even if he had to return that money in 2025, which I'm not so certain he did. I'd like to find out what happened to the $50,000. Seemed to me that's a simple question that should have a simple answer. Tom Homan, what happened to that 50 grand in cash handed to you in a brown paper bag by FBI undercover agents? Did you declare it on your 2024 tax returns? Did Homan declare the 50 grand in cash he received, he will claim, for his so-called consulting fees? Do you know anybody who gets paid as a consultant in $50 in cash handed to them in a brown paper bag? Let me ask you another rhetorical question about Tom Homan. Given that Donald Trump is a convicted felon, that two separate juries found Trump civilly liable for defaming and sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll, given that last year a judge found Trump civilly liable for ripping off banks and lenders to the tune of hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, given that Donald Trump was forced to settle a lawsuit with the state of New York by promising never to run a charitable foundation ever again because he ripped off donors to his previous one, although that's not what his lawyers claimed when they agreed to the settlement. But Donald Trump is forbidden from running a charitable foundation, given that Donald Trump is a serial violator of the Emoluments Clause of our Constitution, a Constitution which strictly forbids presidents from accepting gifts or money from foreign governments, given that the only reason Trump isn't being prosecuted right now for attempting to overturn the 2020 presidential election and inciting an insurrection is because he was reelected. Given who Donald Trump is and who he surrounds himself with, who he is most comfortable being around, do you think for 1 second Tom Homan was picked as border czar because he's honest, because he's smart, because he can be trusted? Donald Trump, among other afflictions, suffers from, or we suffer from, his classic narcissistic personality disorder. Donald Trump cannot be around anyone who is smarter or more trustworthy than he is, which dramatically narrows down the pool because Donald Trump is perhaps the dumbest and most dishonest person in our country. Given that Donald Trump is a mental defect, given the mental defects he picks as his defense chief, his attorney general, his director of Homeland Security, given who his closest friends are, given that he is only comfortable around avaricious, gold-plated lowlifes who put mammon before people, given all that, do you think for 1 second Tom Homan, whose singular accomplishment in life is grabbing innocent women and children off the streets of America and tossing them into overcrowded prisons with open-air toilets, and if they're lucky, one meal a day, do you think Tom Homan, our border czar, even knows that it's against the law to take a bag filled with 50 grand in cash, promising access to government money, and then not report it on his taxes? We know Tom Homan is amoral, that he lacks any sense of right or wrong. So why would we expect him to know what's legal? Why would Donald Trump, a convicted felon, Why would he ever give a job in law enforcement to someone who might know what the law is? Why would Trump expose himself to the risk of someone turning him in? As far as Trump and his White House band of grifters are concerned, someone in charge of law enforcement who actually knows what the laws are, well, that's a recipe for trouble. I'm David Feldman, reminding you to stay strong, protect the weak, and Tom Homan, you're an homunculus.